After the killer clowns made that petrifying, that frightening remark concerning the abduction that happened this past week, we immediately, a part of the Gaming Weekly, contacted the authorities where they stated they would be investigating the issue. Well, immediately following the interview, ladies and gentlemen, the police officer stayed in contact with us. In fact, earlier today, we got a chance to ask more questions concerning the killer clown purge movement and more questions concerning the abduction that took place. We're going to go ahead and show you the text interview that took place right now. So we started the interview off by asking, do you have any updates on the killer clowns claiming to have abducted someone? They replied back, hello. As of now, the police departments are looking into it. We have yet to find any credible source indicating that an abduction took place. We then asked, now assuming that an abduction took place, what would the police have to do at that moment? They replied back, interestingly enough, at that point, we would have to proceed to take preliminary measures on the case and do what we can to make sure the victim is safe and we find those responsible. We then asked, now when it comes to the killer clowns in general, are you guys taking other precautions to minimize the potential harm that could take place? He replied back by saying, we are taking extra precautions around the communities, and we advise that all other communities do the same as well. We are sending weekly reports on the danger that lies on these killer clowns. We are sending out a mandated curfew by this week to protect the communities at all costs. We asked the question, so are you saying these killer clowns are actually dangerous? They then said, what we're saying is that there's yet to be credible evidence that they are extremely dangerous. However, we can confirm that there have been sightings and we are keeping an eye on those that are saying that they want to purge on the 31st. We then asked the question, how do you respond to the killer clowns that are stating they want a war, that they want to instill fear in society? They then replied, if they are true to their word, the police and other staff members will have to proceed to implement a lockdown in which every city it's taking place. After that, we would have to eliminate any threat that they are posing in the city. Our main goal is to eliminate all threats that happen in a certain community. Depending on the severity of the situation, we will need to act on it as quickly as possible. The question was then asked, do you think this type of threat is something that will be faced in years to come? It was major in both 2016 and 2020. They replied back heavily by saying, just about every year we receive reports on these types of clown sightings. We are aware of the growing trend that is taking place in certain parts of the world. As police officers, our job is to always protect the communities and minimize the harm that could potentially happen in society. There is no harm done when someone wants to scare someone as a playful joke. However, when they start threatening people and saying how they will purge communities soon, that's when we have to step in. To answer the question, we are expecting to deal with this type of trend every year. We will say we are always prepared if this happens, if something happens. We asked the question, are you guys a bit worried that this may get out of hand? I asked the question. They answered, as police officers, we are to remain vigilant and professional at all times. We can't show any signs of fear or worry, otherwise there can be more chaos among the members of the communities. Whether we are afraid or not, it's always best to be focused at the task at hand. We can say we are prepared if any type of assault is coming in the distant future. We asked the question, killer clowns are vowing to purge on October 31st, as you mentioned. If it does happen, what will you do to make sure this never happens again in the future? They replied back, if a purge is set to take place on that day, then at that point we would have no other choice but to lock down all the cities as we stated. We would then have to temporarily suspend clown masks and costumes and even some weapons to minimize the threat. Furthermore, we would have advancements placed if it would ever come to that. We asked the question, what do you mean by advancements? They then said, by advancements, we mean extra security cameras, extra police officers on duty, and so on. We will have the justifications at the moment to make sure everything is being watched to avoid any further conflicts until the problem has been rectified. Society will restore back to order once the conflict has been issued. We then asked the question, for my final question, do you have any final words to those who might be in fear? For the final time, they replied back, there have been clown sightings in the last several weeks, so we understand why one might be afraid. We would want to let everyone know at the moment we are prepared for any purge or attack these guys might have. It's best to always remain in groups when outside, and furthermore, to not walk alone at night. It's always best to be safe, and that's what our job offers us to do. To protect the citizens of the communities. And that is the end of the interview, ladies and gentlemen. The Gaming Weekly asking a couple of questions to the police department over there. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that the policemen are highly professional. They know exactly what they're doing. Of course, according to what they sent us via text, they said that they would actually have to do everything they can to make sure they would minimize this entire situation. Can you imagine, though, if a purge does indeed happen on the 31st, if a purge completely blowed out of proportion on the 31st, can you imagine the destruction that's going to be taking place, but also how this world will actually change? Think about how the change of the world would actually happen. Think about that for just a quick second. Every single person is going to be on edge. Every single person is going to be walking down the street. Everyone is going to be walking the old proverbial eggshells, so to speak. And things are going to truly change if it does happen. Even the police said that they would actually suspend guns and weapons. They would temporarily suspend all the clown costumes and masks, and I can understand it. I mean, I would have no problem if the police officers would have to take to those measures, really, to minimize the harm. Now, I do want to say real quick, these killer clowns, though, I mean, they have been saying it really over the course of the last couple of weeks. They've been stating that they're not afraid. They've been stating that they're not afraid, that they want the war, that they want the destruction, that they want to go against the police officers. This is what they want. These police officers are saying that they're going to be going against the killer clowns, and it looks like they're going to do something that the killer clowns have been wanting for quite some time. Killer clowns out there have been saying that they actually want this to happen, that they want all society to rise up to go against them, to compete against them on the 31st. So you got to believe these killer clowns have some sort of sick plan in their mind. But I have trust, I have faith when it comes to police officers, folks. I have faith when it comes to police officers, the brave men and women who are protecting the society to make sure that everyone is safe here in this community, which is, by the way, which is why we always have to, protect the police officers as well. I mean, you got to believe that if there's killer clowns out there attacking innocent police officers, you would have to help them. And vice versa, they would do the same to you. But nonetheless, let's talk about just a couple of weeks away, as mentioned, October 31st, the purge, which is set to take place on that night. Many people are saying that it's not going to happen, and many people are saying that it will happen. But the fact of the matter is, for all intents and purposes, ladies and gentlemen, if this is not going to happen, who's to say that it might happen next year, or the year after that, or the year after that, and so on and so forth? This is something that they have been planning for the longest time. I mean, for all these couple of years, for the last couple of years, this is what they have been planning. They have been wanting this to happen because they, quote, are rejected in life. Since 2016, they have been planning this, everyone. And that is the question. Will October 31st be the night where we witness perhaps the biggest purge in world history? Will it be the night where these killer clowns officially mark themselves on the map? Will it be the official day, October 31st of 2021? Will it be the official day of the killer clowns? Please stay safe as always, everyone. Like, comment, and subscribe for more updates concerning the killer clowns. We will be updating everyone, especially on the night of October 31st, 2021. Thanks for joining us.